Madame Chenai Mukumba of Tax Justice Network of Africa and Civil Society Financing for Development Mechanism.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to be the lead discussant in this session on the road to FfD4. As was indicated, my name is Chenai Mukumba. I'm with the Tax Justice Network Africa, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Civil Society Financing for Development Mechanism. As has been mentioned by previous speakers, including His Excellency Antonius Guterres, the Bretton Woods institutions and other multilateral institutions were established long before developing countries were in existence. These institutions were created in the 1940s, just as many developing countries were starting to gain independence. The wave of independence in both Asia and Africa, for example, took place in the 1940s and 1960s. And as a result, the majority of developing countries were absent at the decision-making tables where the rules and institutions that currently govern the global financial architecture were made. In civil society, we like to say, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, and this was the case. As a result, the rules that were established to govern the global financial architecture were subsequently developed in favor of the countries that were present then. And we see this in the rules that govern the international debt architecture, the international trade regime, as well as the global tax space. And so against this background and context, what we need to ensure remains at the center of discussions on financing for development is the question of international economic governance reforms. So as we look forward, we need a reaffirmation of the Monterey Consensus understanding of financing, structural and systemic reforms that strengthen the policy and fiscal space of developing countries in advancing their structural transformation agendas. The focus needs to be placed on rectifying the existing structural inequalities and current unfair division of labor. Our current reality is one of the net transfer of financial resources from developing countries to developed ones, and a current global division of labor that traps many developing countries into commodity-dependent economies, with profound implications in terms of import dependence and limited opportunities to attain the SDGs. And so we need to avoid being trapped into financing SDGs, as this can serve as a distraction from the multiple dependencies that trap the global South. And so we need to retain the FfD as a space for decisions that are mostly focused on government's re-architecture, with a focus in democratizing global economic governance and establishing a normative framework to re-regulate the global economy. This is the most important thing, rather than trying to infuse new narratives and policy inclinations into the existing set of institutions that have been large contributors of where we are today. And so given that a big focus of this is institutional ecosystem redesign, we must ensure that the process is firmly driven by member states, not only in terms of outcome drafting, but also in terms of the way the preparatory dialogues are constructed and organized. And so what does this look like? Prominence to intergovernmental dialogues and negotiations, avoiding organizing expert-driven conferences and other similar preparatory sessions, and the IATF to be on the receiving end of member states' deliberations. The negotiations should include, from the very start, the need to strengthen the follow-up processes of FfD4, ensuring clear landing pads in terms of strengthening the annual follow-up cycle so that it can build further beyond what is agreed at the FfD4, rather than have the FfD outcome as its ceiling. Provide clear mandated processes that may depart from the FfD4 onwards. Provide a clear date for the FfD5, as well as rethink the role of the IATF. As I conclude, I cannot finish without saying that it is essential to guarantee transparency and civic accountability of the negotiations process, to ensure substantive opportunities for civil society to observe and track negotiations, as well as engage with member states in accordance with the well-established FfD modalities. Thank you very much.